USAid, the American Development Agency, has been trying to spread unrest in Cuba, using rappers. They were attempting to create a youth network demanding change from Raul Castro's government, but they've ended up compromising the country's hip-hop scene, which had actually been producing some of the hardest-hitting criticism of the government all by itself. It's just the latest in a long list of US interventions in Cuba, with varying degrees of success. In 1906, Teddy Roosevelt, then US President, sent in troops to Cuba following disputed elections. The losing party, led by José Miguel Gómez, accused Tomás Parma and his party of rigging the elections. American troops stayed for 3 years until Gómez was elected and the Cuban army was formed. In 1912, US forces returned after a black armed rebellion in Oriente province in southeast Cuba. The US landed more than 1,500 Marines in the districts of Guantanamo and Santiago de Cuba to protect US estates and mines. During the Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961, about 1,200 CIA-trained Cuban exiles attempted to overthrow Fidel Castro. 8 CIA-supplied B-26 bombers attacked Cuban airfields ahead of the expedition.
In Havana, Acting Foreign Minister Olivares shows diplomats rockets fired from the Cuban raiders, which he claims have US marking.
But with no other US support, the exiles surrendered after 2 days of being pounded by Cuban militia, tanks, and fighter planes. 68 people were killed in the fiasco. After the Bay of Pigs, the CIA launched Operation Mongoose, a clandestine program to get rid of Castro. At least 5 plans to kill the Cuban leader were drawn up between 1961 and 1963. Schemes that the CIA considered included the use of exploding cigars, poisoned milkshake, and a poisoned wetsuit. Perhaps the most contentious intervention, though, is still ongoing. The US exercises control of the Guantanamo naval base under the 1903 Cuban-American Treaty, although Cuba retains ultimate sovereignty. The base has gained global notoriety in the last few years as a prison for terror suspects being held for years without trial. But for decades now, the naval base has been an affront to Cubans who see it as a violation of their sovereignty.